whatever is going on, I don't know if the rest of you are noticing this, but there seems to be kind of this continual kind of up and down wave of things that are happening in my life, in the world, and how I basically react to it. So it's riding those waves that, again, I think our yoga practice gives us. And sometimes I'm better at riding them and sometimes I'm not. But more and more frequently these days, when I find that I'm not able to ride those waves, is I notice it sooner, or I notice that I'm starting to get into a really reactive space. And so today's class, what I really want to go into, those of you guys who are following me on social media may have seen the picture of my cat Barley in his glory, and the quote from Bonnie Bainbridge Cohen that says, every moment is a posture. And it can be. We can bring our yoga into every moment as long as we stay within that consciousness. So in today's practice, we're going to be doing some things, and I'm going to encourage you to try to find and stay in that consciousness of yourself, of your body, of your mind, of your emotions, moment by moment. When we're back in our consciousness, we can make the best decision for us, whether it be, I'm going to choose to do this version of this posture, or I'm going to choose to do another version of the posture. And you may even choose to do a version that I haven't suggested yet. So finding the ones that are right for you happen best when we're there in that moment by moment. So your decisions guide you. I'm going to provide some suggestions, but as always in my classes, I ask you please to try to do your best to stay in that place of consciousness, moment by moment. Do your yoga. All right, here we go. Let's get our sit bones grounded. We have a heavy equipment going by that you might have seen us all looking at for a moment there. Here we go. We're going to root down through the sit bones. Maybe move your pelvis a little bit forward and back. Side to side. Maybe a little circling. Find that feeling that your rib cage now feels like it's nicely centered over your pelvis. Shoulders centered over your hips, and the head centered over all of that below. It should feel like a really comfortable position, one that perhaps is pretty easy to maintain. Allow yourself to either soften your gaze or close your eyes. Take a few breaths to bring yourself, setting as best you can all that has come before this moment off to the side and come right here into this moment, into your body, into your breath, into your awareness and your emotions. Breathing and holding into them. Just honoring the fact of having arrived here right now. Perhaps making a commitment to try to stay in this moment by moment awareness. Feel your breath right now. Feel that beautiful pattern of your air coming in, the air going back out. The intelligence of your body that carries on so many actions moment by moment. Finding this place of perfect balance within your body. May we bring to our consciousness this intelligence and balance as well. When you feel as though you've grounded down and are centered, then bringing your palms together. As you do this, finding and planting the seeds of your intention, finding and planting the seeds of your dedication to whom or what will you dedicate your practice today? Having planted those seeds, we're going to Om in the Uchara manner, generating the Ah low in the body, the U in the heart center, the nasal sound in the head, and allowing the silence to arise up through the crown of head into the world. Exhaling together and inhaling. We practice together in consciousness and presence. Namaste. All right. So those of you sitting cross-legged, go ahead and lean back. We're going to switch the cross of the legs. If you're sitting in an alternate position and you don't want to switch, that's fine. What I want you to do, those of you guys saying cross-legged who switched, is once again, just kind of reset, find that balance between your two sit bones, find that feeling of being fairly centered front and back. And again, this feeling of kind of centering up from the pelvis and the legs being grounded down. Now from here, all I want you to do is we're going to just kind of remember the way in which a breathing method that can really be helpful. And if nothing else, working with your breathing is doing your yoga. So you can talk about this in like a 3-part or a 4-part breath. I'm going to stick with a simple 3-part today. So I want you to think of your breath as kind of, even though this doesn't physiologically match your lungs, is that you're kind of like this, your lungs is this container. And we're trying to fill and empty our container. And we want to do this, but without overdoing. If you're the kind of person that once you hear something, you're going to go and try to do it the most and the best, I want you to hold yourself back a little bit. If you're the kind of person that is a little hesitant with things, you may need to go for it a little bit more. You want to find this middle ground, again, that feeling of that balance. So you should feel your breath be able to expand the contents of your abdomen. So if you put one hand fairly low in your belly, around your navel and below, if you were to take in a full breath, you may feel your hand being pushed out and drawn back in with your inhale and your exhale because your diaphragm is expanding down. So just do that for a couple breaths. Feeling the potential for filling this lower part of your body. We're not really filling it with air, but it's being moved by the air coming in and out of your lungs. Now, another place to feel that, if you're flexible enough to take your hands around to your back body and put them on your back, just a little bit above your hips, a little bit below your ribs. And as you breathe in there, hopefully you also feel the expansion in that part of your body. Because we don't just want it in the front part. Your lower lobes of your lungs actually come down here in your back body lower than in your front body. So just try to expand and feel expansion in your hands back here. Once you've got that, release your hands. Shake out your arms for a minute. The next place we want to feel this expansion is here on your side bodies, right around your ribs. Is in the middle lobes of the lungs. You should feel your rib cage kind of going out and in with your breath. So check out this. See if you feel that expansion on both sides, your ribs kind of going out and coming back in. Staying within and out through the nose. There's so many benefits of us breathing in through our nose. Everyone got that? Good. And now the last place we want to feel this is up in the upper parts of our lungs. So you may want to put your hands on your shoulders like this, if that's comfortable. If that's not, like sometimes crossing your arms. Whichever one is available to you. And just feeling, if you can, your breath. Can you feel some expansion up here? Maybe even around your collarbones. If you can't get your hands up there, at least place your hands here, your fingers around your collarbones. And it may only be when you feel those other places, you may feel this light lifting up through here. And then relax your hands. Now go back for just a moment. Soften and close your eyes. And just now with your breath, try to fill those 3 areas. If you can, bring it down low first. Inhaling, inhaling, and inhaling. And then exhaling from those 3 areas as well. And just doing this for a couple breaths with either a soft gaze or with your eyes closed. Notice how the attention to this can sometimes help to bring about a sense of calmness. And can you fill those 3 areas without over breathing? Without overfilling your lungs, and simply maybe just a little bit deeper than your natural breath. Because overbreathing has its own problems. Can you do this without creating tension in your body or in your mind? When you're ready, softly open your eyes. Good, how'd that feel? Calming, good. So moment by moment, no matter what you're doing in your day, you can always simply come back to finding this full breath. There's all kinds of physiological reasons why it is calming. I'm not going to go into now, but it's an important process and it can be really helpful. All right, let's go ahead and stretch the legs out. Reach them out in front of you. Just give yourself a couple of wiggles of your feet, your toes, move your ankles, your knees. Lift those feet up, do a little side-to-side motion. All right, and I'm going to have you come down and on your back for just a little bit, and I'm going to have you bring your strap with you. Have it by your side so that you can use that as we come down and onto the back. All right. Oh, we might lose Debbie. She just was like, it's so nice. All right, so on your back, just to get your body ready for this, go ahead and stretch everything out. Stretch your fingertips away from your body. Stretch your tootsies away from your body. Get this nice feeling of really reach, 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 reach. Now, all I want you to do is we're going to kind of do a little banana here. So just start to, with your arms and legs still reached out, just draw your hands and your feet over towards the same side. You kind of make your body into a nice curved banana, a little side to side. Now take those full breaths into this. See what happens when you're here on your back, kind of in this banana mode. And if your arms don't go all the way down to the ground with your arms stretched out, please make them so that they go down to the ground. They're not hanging up in the air. And then inhale, come back to center. And then exhale yourself on over to the other side. Find your banana to this side. Find and feel, if you can, the lower parts of your lobes, the middle parts of your lobes, your upper lobes also filling. And can they fill in this position as well? All right. One more. Nice full breath, not over breathing. And then back to center. Good. Go ahead and draw your knees up and into your body. Just draw them in for a moment, hug them in, squeeze them in, do a little rock and roll, give yourself a little self-massaging. And once you've done that a couple times, go ahead and keeping your knees bent, bring your feet down to the floor. We're back in our constructive rest position. Remember, we call this one. So now here, all I want you to do is I want you to feel your back body on the floor and just notice what parts of your body, without making any adjustments right now, what parts of your body are really in the floor and what parts of your back are lightly lifting. Does anyone feel a light lift in your low back area? Does anyone feel a light lift in maybe the curve of your neck? Some of you are going to have different degrees of that, and some of you may feel that your back is pressing into the ground in different areas. But this is just kind of our back resting against the ground. Now, all you want you to start doing with your breath is, again, to start to move your pelvis a little bit. So as you inhale, you may find that your pelvis, the front of your pelvis, lightly lifts up. That space in between your low back and the floor might increase just slightly. And on your exhale, you might find that that space in between your low back and the floor decreases just slightly. Just play with that. Just a little slight movement of your pelvis. So this is the natural rhythm of your breath that does this really gently without us even noticing it. And all we're doing is we're slightly exaggerating it. And so you're going to find and feel that you're getting alternately a little lifting up of your low back and a little flattening out of your low back. You should feel your pelvis, the back of your pelvis, just slightly moving with your breath. Now, if that feels comfortable, what I want you to do is maybe even start increasing that a little bit. Start exaggerating it just a little bit more. Finding the rhythm of your pelvic movement on your inhale and your exhale. And as you exaggerate this a little bit more, if you are, where else do you feel your back and your body moving on the floor now? Because I can see it in you guys. But can you feel it? Right. Your whole shoulders and your head are actually moving up and down. And we have to, because what we're doing is we're lengthening the spine and then we're shortening the spine. And because our spine is all related, all of our body and all the muscles and the fascia connect us, is continuing this pattern gives us some movement up in our neck. So now the same thing is true. Come back to just neutral position. What I want you to do, only if this feels comfortable, is I want you to stay really aware of your pelvis and your low back, but just lightly first extend up the crown of your head, try to extend your neck, and then just lightly draw your chin down and lightly lift the back of your head up. And notice if you feel that down in your low back. So keep your chin tucked. So you're just extending out through the crown of the head, tucking the chin, and then lightly lifting the head. And do you feel that down in your low back as you do that? As if you were going to curl up and do a sit-up, right? It pushes the sacrum down or maybe starts to flatten out that low back again. Absolutely. Our whole spine is connected. Good. Go ahead and move your legs a little side to side or draw your knees in if that has created any tension in your back or spine. Just notice these are really slight movements. So moment by moment, as you're doing your practice, and we may be going into things that create back bending or forward bending in your body, you may have, if any of that felt uncomfortable, want to acknowledge that maybe you don't need to go very deep into poses to get the right action for you. This is what you just showed yourself here on the mat. All right, go ahead and draw your knees up, stack them up on top of the hips, put your hands in front of your kneecaps. And let's just do a couple breaths here. This is your position with your arms extended straight out for your full inhale. And on your exhale, start to draw your knees in. We've done this before. This is called Apanasana. And this should be giving a nice massaging action to your back, to the organs of your digestion and elimination. Move at the pace. Again, a full inhale, but not overfilling. A full exhale, but no struggle or strain. Moment by moment. See if you can find the balance of these two movements and these actions for you. What I also want you to play with is, where do you want to draw your knees in? Some of you are going to be more comfortable keeping your knees right straight in line with your hips and draw them straight in. Some of you are going to be more comfortable widening your knees a little bit more as you draw them down and into your body. Find what's right for you there too. What's the most comfortable for you? Do you automatically go there, or did you have to be told to do that? Permission to find the best movement for you. Please continue to be conscious. Good. All right. Now go ahead and set your legs down for a moment. We're just going to take it. We're just going to do a couple other movements. All I want you to do is reach your arms toward your ceiling and then see if you can do that and lift your shoulder blades almost off the ground because you're reaching so much. And then on an exhale, draw your shoulder blades back down to the ground, but keep your fingers up towards the ceiling. Do that a couple more times. So feel that movement of your shoulder blades. Feel how when you reach, what do they do? Do they stretch farther away from each other? And when you draw them back down, now can you draw them a little bit more towards each other? One more time, inhale. And exhale. Good. Relax your arms down by your side for a moment. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take ourselves into a twist. So remember how last Monday we worked a little bit with that ha, 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 that laughing, right? And engaging the deeper abdominal muscles. So today we're going to do a couple things. First, keeping your knees bent. Just take and draw maybe your right knee just a little bit farther in and put your hand on your knee. Right here, what I want you to do is, actually, you should be above your knee on your thigh. So right here, I want you to find about that 20% of trying to press your leg in against your hand and your hand resisting with that 20% and pressing out away from it. Holding this for a few breaths. See if you can still keep that nice full breath, but without over breathing, not under breathing. And you should start to feel a little bit deeper thing coming on. And relax. Where'd you guys feel that? In the abs, I'm hearing a little bit close to the thigh a little bit. Absolutely good. Let's do the same thing on the left side. So the same thing, drawing that left leg in, hand on top of the thigh. Now again, find the equal work here, an isometric work of about 20% on each side of this. The leg trying to draw in, the hand trying to push out against that leg, holding and breathing, feeling in the abdominal region. Can you sense the activity fairly deep underneath some other layers of muscles? And once you do and you're ready to relax that, soften and release that leg down. Good. All right, so now bring your knees up to about just stacked on top of the hips again. Get your shins parallel with the floor and either at your arms out to the side in a T position or by your body, whatever's most comfortable for you, or in a cactus. We're going to do that halfway down twist. So those muscles we just activated will hopefully be helping in this. So take that nice, fairly full breath in the center, and then on the exhale, bring your legs halfway over to one side. Then use that inhale to draw yourself back up to center, and the exhale over to the other side. Move at the pace of your breath. And do this, if it's comfortable, a couple more times to each side. If you need to, hug a brick in between your thighs may also help you to stabilize in here. If any of you have had some hip replacement stuff or hip injury stuff, that's usually a good stabilizer. If this is not comfortable for you, all I want you to do is bring your feet back down to the ground and just simply allow your knees to just come over towards one side and then over to the other side, a lighter twist. Once you've done 3 times to each side, if it's comfortable, come back to center, set those feet down. If you're using a brick, go ahead and take that brick out of the way, or keep it there if it's more beneficial for you. All right, we're just going to do a light lifting up into bridge pose. Just do that a couple times. Your back may be ready for a back bend. As you do this, what I want you to do is find your full breath. See if you can keep your breath filling the lower part, then the middle part, then the upper part of your chest as your spine lifts into those positions. Can you feel your breath helping you lift down, up and down, I should say. 3 to 5 times of this, gentle and easy bridge lifts, just getting our spine now warmed up and our consciousness staying aware. All right. Now, we're going to just do a little bit of rock and roll. And this is, again, if it only feels comfortable on your spine. If it's comfortable, start to rock yourself up and down your spine, from your gluteals to your shoulders. If that isn't comfortable, just simply come over onto one of your sides. Use your hands to sit yourself back up. We are eventually going to end up on hands and knees. So you guys that are rocking, once you've had some nice rocking, if you're ready, rock yourself up. And we're going to come on to hands and knees. All right. Now, I just want to show you something real quick before I have you start it, is we're going to work with on hands and knees. First, come over here a little bit, doing a little bit of leg circles. So again, what I want you to do is See how I tend to first just come forward, but I want you to think about taking those leg circles and coming back. So you may actually want to think about making a figure 8 with your legs. So you're coming forward and back, and then at some point you need to change the direction of that figure 8 as well. If that is not comfortable, all I want you to do is find what is. Maybe coming forward a little bit, exploring a little bit side to side here, then going back into the center, a little side to side there, and then back to here and a little side to side there. All right, so a couple options. Find your kneeling position, hands and knees. Again, if coming flat onto your hands doesn't feel comfortable, you can always do the bird's beak on your fingers or with fists like that. All right, let's start with right leg. First, just lifting that up, again, trying to keep stability in the rest of the hips, and just starting to see if you can start to draw figure 8s with that knee. Coming forward, up and under the body, and going back and behind the body. And then keep that full breath happening.
Oh, there's that.
Oh, there's that. Not holding the breath, but can you keep breathing in and out? Peter, see if you can keep your pelvis stable while you're doing this, so you're not moving as much side to side with the pelvis, simply allowing that femur bone to go around in the socket. That's it. You got it. All right, so we should be getting a little warmth around that right hip. Once you feel that and you're ready, set that knee down if you've already changed directions. And we're going to go to the other side. If you need to, stand up on your knees for a moment, move your wrists, give them a break. Conduct the orchestra. All right, come back on down to the knees and let's do the other side. Left leg. So again, once you've got on your hands and knees, as you start to lift that left leg up, make sure you've got stability in the pelvis so that the pelvis itself is trying to stay as still as it can. And it's the femur bone that's moving, your thigh bone that is creating the figure 8. Coming forward and under the body, making a circle there, coming back and behind the body, making a circle there. Again, if that doesn't feel right for your body, simply draw that left knee forward, move it a little side to side, come back to center, move it a little side to side there, then coming back a side to side there. Now, if you haven't already reversed the direction of your figure 8s, make sure you're balancing and reversing the figure 8s. And then come back to center. Good. Go ahead and come up onto your knees again and just move your wrists a couple times. Having done your wrists up and down, what I want you to do is come to center with your wrists, and now just try to glide them side to side without moving your forearms. Yep. Good. Relax your hands down by your sides in cactus arms. Now turn your hands as much as you can. Try to bring those pinky fingers forward. Take them back. Pinky fingers back. Now we're going to do cactus arms like this and do the same thing. Pinky fingers forward. Turn it back around. Pinky fingers back. Good. And now flick the little finger. Flick, flick, flick. Lead with the little finger 3 more times. 2, 1. Good job. Relax your arms. Go like this. We're going to do one more thing on our hands and knees. And this is, we're actually going to come back into child's pose. Let the arms come back by the hips. And if coming all the way back into child's pose, you can just simply start to come back, even if it's only to this far. Coming up on the knees with your inhale. Let those fingers be nice and wide. Come back into as much of a back bend as is comfortable. And your exhale will take you back and down towards, all the way to child's pose or towards child's pose. All right. So find your starting position, whether it be all the way back or whether it's part way back. Hands reaching back behind you. On your inhale, let your lungs start filling from the lower, middle, upper lungs. Lift those hands and fingers up, and your exhale starts emptying lower, middle, upper, and helps you release back down. Do this with the pace of your breath, maybe 3 to 5 more times. Breathing up and back down. Stay with your breath, stay with the sensations of your body, moving in the best way possible for your body. As full of breath as is comfortable and not overfilling. And once you've done that last one, go ahead and come on down. And all I'm going to ask you to do is kind of slide forward. You're going to come onto your belly with your hands underneath your forehead. You can have the blanket underneath your pubic bone or not. It's up to you. Just take a moment here to check in. How is it feeling within your body, your breath, your mind, your energy? Just noticing how everything's feeling right now. Awareness of that. Remember to stay conscious, to stay in that place of balance and harmony for you. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take the hands just lightly out to the side a little bit. Now I want you to ground down through your pubic bone and through all 10 toes. If you have your feet together behind you, what you may want to do is actually widen them out a little bit. Just check and see how it feels in your low back sacral area. And take your feet as wide as they need to be to feel really super comfy there. Now, all I want you to do is with your full inhales, I want you to feel how your body naturally fills with air and your head wants to maybe lift up a little bit at the end. And then exhale, come back down. Start to find the rhythm of your breath helping you to lift your body up and down. Try not to use your arms. You may want to bring them into a position where they may support you, but it's really your breath that's lightly lifting your body. So at the very end of your inhale, it almost feels like it's lifting your head and your chest and back and down. You're going to feel your back body muscles working. If you can, you may want to increase the lift a little bit in the next couple breaths. Keep your pubic bone pressing down. Keep the top of your toes pressing down. Let your legs and the engagement there help support you. Your breath creating the movement. And exhale. After you've done maybe 3 to 5 of those, go ahead and come back to your resting position, hands under your forehead. Relax your legs, relax your body if you want to. Wiggle your hips. You could always lift your heels up in the air and kind of windshield wiper them side to side like you see Elodie doing. All right. Now we're going to come up a little bit more this time. And so what I want you to do is see how much of this you can do without, again, using your arms. But if you need to start using your arms, that's okay. Bring your hands back under your shoulders. This is going to be like a really gentle cobra pose. So your pubic bone, again, is grounding down. The top of all 10 toes are reaching down. Feel your inhale starting to lift your body. Allow your back muscles to do as much as possible. Maybe just lightly and barely pressing into the hands. Keep your eyes going down towards the ground in front of you, your chin tucked, and hold yourself up here. Can you stay up at this height without losing height with your exhale? Try to one more breath. And then exhale to come back and down. Good. Hopefully this is feeling good on your low back. If for any reason it isn't, my things to check would be that maybe your feet aren't wide enough apart. Maybe you're not pressing down into your feet strong enough or into your pubic bone strong enough, or for some reason this is not your day to do this with your back. In that case, you may be better served by going back and resting in child's pose right now. We're going to do this one more time. And all I'm going to have you guys do is now I want you to use the wisdom of your body. We're going to breathe up and down. And I only want you to come up as far as this feels really comfortable for your body 3 times. Whenever you're ready, remember, ground to the pubic bone, ground to the 10 toes, inhaling, coming up. Some of you may want to come all the way up into cobra, some of you not. And exhale, let your breath bring you back and down. As you do this, try to see if you can draw the shoulder blades down the back as much as you come up. Keep your chin tucked. You can always let your eyes come forward. Imagine you're that beautiful cobra arising. On your third one, if you want to stay up for a breath or two, feel free to stay up for a breath or two or not. And when you're ready, gently exhale yourself back and down. Again, make that pillow for your forehead. Wiggle with the hips or lift the feet up towards this roof and windshield wiper the feet to one side and the other. Cool. All right, we got our back active, we've got our abdominals active. Now I'm going to have you bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Come back up onto those hands and knees. And we're just going to do a couple more things here. First, we're going to do a little twist. And so this way, the one that I like to do personally is to keeping the left hand down here on hands and knees, is to inhale and lift up through this right arm. Now what I want you to be aware of, and sometimes it's helpful to hug that brick in between your knees, is to try not to move too much from here, but to allow this to really come from my thoracic spine, hugging my hips together, and then thread the needle under. All right? So starting to come into a thread the needle twist, hugging your hips together, so stability there. Thoracic spine movement. Your inhale will lift up through that right arm. Exhale, drawing under and threading the needle. As many times as you want to do this, maybe 3 times moving with breath, maybe spending a couple breaths coming down with the arm on the ground. Bringing perhaps the right ear, right shoulder down towards the ground, or all the way onto the ground. It's okay. Keep conscious, though, of what's the right movement for your body, your spine, your shoulders. From doing that 3 times on one side, then you're going to switch over to the left side. Again, trying to possibly hug your hips together. Maybe if you have the brick in between your legs, you're hugging that brick together, moment by moment, every moment being the posture. So finding just the right movement for you. Good. You guys' backs are looking so good. Awareness, presence, really healthy movement in your back and your body. All right. And after those 3 times, again, one more time, coming back up on the hands and knees. Again, that brick may be helpful, it may not be, you may want to move it out of the way. Now all we're going to do here is feel free to do a couple cat-cows if that's what your body's asking you to do. What I'm going to suggest this time is now start to find your neutral spine. Start to reach down through your knees and your hands, but at the same time now try to start dragging your hands and your knees towards each other. They won't move towards each other, but as you do that, feel the engagement in your abdominals. Can you hold that lightly, not tensely, and keep doing that full breath? Find that right place. Some of you may need to back off on that action because you tend to go into it too much. Some of you may need to intensify it a little bit. Find that right spot for you. Good. And then go ahead and come up onto the hands and knees again. And wiggle, wiggle. Good. We're going to bring the right leg forward. So step your right leg forward. And all I want you to do is, again, find just that right width in between where the knee and that front foot is. We've worked with this before, just like you just did with your hands and knees. Find right now that heel lightly dragging back towards you with your right foot and your left knee lightly dragging forward. It should feel comfortable in some activity. Now find that full breath. You should still be able to bring that nice full breath down low, middle ribs and upper. As you breathe in, let's just practice bringing the arms up with that breath, filling the lungs lower, middle, upper, lifts the arms. Exhale, back and down. If you want, if this is feeling comfortable and you want to come a little bit farther forward, feel free to come a little bit farther forward. And exhale back. One more time, and this time hold for a breath. Inhale, possibly deepening into it, but only if that's right for you. Holding for a breath, feeling those fingertips reach, the shoulder blades coming towards each other, and then on the exhale, coming back and down. Good, we're going to switch moment by moment. Each posture. So at any point throughout this, you can stop and pause because every piece of this is a posture. Finding now your left heel and your right knee, trying to do that scissoring action of dragging towards each other. Just the right amount so that you can still breathe that nice full breath. You're not creating over tension in any part of your pelvis, your low back. As you're ready and you're starting to feel that nice full breath rhythm, moving your arms up and down with that full breath, your fingertips rise at the top of the breath, they descend down as you're exhaling. Some of you may want to bring the pelvis forward a little bit more as you do this, only if that's comfortable in the pelvis and the low back, and exhaling back and down. On the third time, if it's comfortable, holding it this last time, finding that nice full breath, fingertips reaching up, but without stress or strain, shoulder blades working their way towards each other and down the back, exhaling eventually to release. Good. Let's go ahead and we're going to step this forward and come up to standing. We're going to move the blanket out of the way because we're going to do a couple of things here and we won't be coming down and onto the knees. So find yourself towards the front of your mat. I actually totally forgot to have you use the strap on the ground. So I'm going to have you grab onto your strap for just a moment here. Yep. We're going to stagger ourselves because what we're going to do is taking the strap fairly wide in your arms. All I want you to do is find that nice full breath, lifting the arms up, only if it's comfortable, taking them back and behind. Inhaling up, exhaling back and down. So just let your breath fill your arms and create this movement. If you have a stuck spot, one of the ways you may work with it is to widen your arms out on the strap. It may make it easier, or to simply try to do this with one arm at a time. All right, good. Now go ahead and set that strap off to the side. Find your blocks. And we're going to bring and have a block towards the front of your mat, setting down on its lowest dimension. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to work a little bit here with hamstrings for a moment. What I want you to do is find a supporting spot, and if you need to, a wall or something to, you can't see me, I've got a pole right here to put my fingers on. All right, is put the big toe mound through the little toe mound on the edge of that brick. All right, now right here, what I want you to do is get close enough where you can keep your heel down, but bend your knee a little bit. All I want you to do is then start to move from the pelvis. Feel your sit bone. It's right here at the base of your gluteal. Poke yourself in the rear end. And keeping your foot grounded, just try to now lift that sit bone. Don't worry about using the muscles of your legs to straighten that leg. Bend that knee again. And try to lift the sit bone. So you may feel your pelvis kind of doing this. It's tilting forward. And that's what's driving that motion. If you're already, as you do that motion, feeling the back of your hamstring, just notice this isn't a very deep work. This isn't a very deep forward bend. I do come forward a little bit. I'm going to show you from the side. But it's not really deep. And if this is where I'm already feeling, here's my knee bent, I start to tilt my pelvis forward to straighten that. If here's where I'm already feeling it, then this is as far as I need to go in a forward bend to get a healthy stretch in the back of my leg if I'm feeling it back in here. All right, let's try the other leg. Because one leg is different than the other. So left foot on the brick, bend the knee a little bit, feeling where that sit bone is, and straightening the leg by lifting the sit bone up, which is going to start to tilt your pelvis forward. And just noticing as you do this, do you already feel that you're getting a little bit of work in the center of the back of your leg? Any of you guys feeling this yet? Okay. Peter? Okay. So put your hands on your hips. I want you to see these guys. So their knees are bent. Now tilt your pelvis forward so that your sit bone reaches up and back, and allow that movement to be what straightens your leg. Now you got it? Okay. Might need to do that. There we go. All right. Good. So the importance of this is that a lot of times as we go forward, we go past that point. And so when we come into a forward bend, I'm going to show you again from the side, because if here was my stopping point for my hamstrings, I'm already feeling it. If I keep going farther forward down and I'm trying to do it with straight legs, here's what happens, is I push back, and I'm actually now taking my pelvis back I'm not really doing more of a forward bend. I'm just moving the pelvis. So finding that place from here at this point then might tell me, so from this point forward, if I'm going to go down a forward bend, in order to protect my hamstrings and not to hurt them farther, I'm going to need to bend my knees to keep coming forward. Because if I just keep pushing back here and pushing my hips back, then I'm putting a lot of strain here in my low back. I'm putting a lot of strain on the attachments of my hamstrings, and I'm not getting any benefits. I may actually eventually start having knee pain or low back pain as a result. Okay, so now let's practice coming into our forward bend. You may want to have the bricks if you know going all the way down to the ground, or even if bending your knees, you're going to want to not go down that far. You may want to have your bricks like this, all right? So set them in front of you. Let them be a support for you. And we're going to practice this going down and going back. So what I want you to become aware of is this feeling, our wind is playing with us, is the feeling that I can bend my knees as I come down. So put your hands on your hips again. Get a little soft in your knees right now. Don't get them locked. Starting here, press down into your feet. Feel all of your feet reaching the ground, lifting up from the arches. Now just start tilting your pelvis and make sure you're tilting your pelvis and come forward without pushing your hips back. And as you need to, bend your knees to come farther, coming farther, coming farther, and then reaching your hands down, then start to find your bricks. So my knees are bent this much now for me to be able to comfortably release down into my forward bend. Now from here, we can play with, if I'm not getting a lot of sensation in the back of the legs, lightly lifting from those sit bones again. So that feeling of trying to lift the sit bones instead of straightening the knees is your best way of working with this. Take 1, 2, or 3 more breaths into the back of your legs, finding that balance of full breath, consciousness, healthy movement. Then as you're ready, we're going to come back up the same way. We're going to start to come up, lifting, nice inhale, supporting from the abdominals, come up, and then start to root down into the feet. Start to lift more through the front of the pelvis, and you'll find your legs will straighten. How did your backs feel during that? All right, good. So this is a nice forward bend, and the reason why we're doing this carefully is because we're going to rely on our hamstrings to be in a healthy position and healthy stretch a little bit later. All right, so now we're going to take this into a sun salutation, but I want you to enter into your forward bend and come back out at the end of the sun salutation, your forward bend in the same way. All right, so find your mountain pose, close enough that your bricks are going to be there for you as a nice servant. All right. Feel your feet grounding down, that lifting up from the arches. We're going to bring our hands in front of the heart. And bow to remember once again your intention and your dedication. Why you came and you're doing this crazy practice with us. All right. As you're ready, staying rooted down, inhale and bring the arms up, extending. We're going to move in that forward bend. So first, softening the knees lightly, moving forward from the pelvis. Starting to bring your hands down to find your bricks. Then once you've found the bricks, I want you to root down your feet and maybe just lightly lift up to the hamstrings again. Let the crown of your head relax down. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. I commit to staying conscious. We're going to inhale up just a little bit, and on the exhale, step that right leg back. We're going to come up through a crescent pose. So maybe finding that heel down if that helps you be more secure, or keeping the heel lifted. Ground into the front leg. Find the scissoring action of the 2 legs and start to let your inhale lift you up, lifting those arms up. Take a couple breaths here. Just for a moment, again, I'm going to show you from the side, play a little bit with maybe trying to draw that tailbone under and letting it come up a little bit. So that the pelvis lifting from the front of the pelvis and then releasing it. One more time. Move that pelvis. It's okay if you need to bend those knees. Good. Now go ahead and bring your hands down to your hips. Lift up and start to come up a little bit straight in this leg, but keep some softness to it. You can see from the side how much my pelvis is now tilted forward. It's not straight up and down. This would be straight up and down. I have to bend that back knee to do that. So it's okay, it's tilted forward a little bit. All I want to do is we're now going to practice a forward bend over this leg, just like we did. So bending the knee a little bit, start to tilt the pelvis. Tilt it forward. Feel your sit bones are lifting. Now on this front leg, you are going to find where is that sensation in that front leg. Stop when you feel the sensation is enough, right in the center of that muscle. And then inhale yourself back and up, bending this knee any amount more. Coming back here. Good job, everyone. Conscious movement. Exhale. Let's bring the hands down to the mat. Step it back, either into your plank or a knee plank. Remember how when we were on hands and knees, we did that dragging of the hands and knees. So you could come down to your knees and do that same one, or stay here in a full plank and do that dragging. Now for 3 breaths. On one of your breaths, drag your hands and your feet towards each other, or hands and knees. On the other one, release. So maybe inhale, dragging, and exhale, release. One more time. Drag and release. Now, if you can stay here, stay here. If you need to come down the knees, come down the knees. Now play with your pelvic tilt. On one breath, tuck your tailbone and pelvis under. And on the other breath, lift those sit bones up. Do that one more time if you can. Isn't this some fun? And everyone, come on down to the knees. Come on down to the belly. Put your hands underneath your forehead. Rest for a moment. Check in. Wiggle, wiggle. How am I feeling? How conscious have I been? Have I been struggling? Have I still been able to use that nice full breath with ease? Woo-hoo! Good job. All right, hands under the shoulders. We're going to come up and either do an up dog, which would mean lifting the thighs off the ground, or an easy bhujangasana. So use a breath to come up into that. Inhaling up, the pubic bone may be still down, the top of the feet are still down. Hold for a breath or two. Shoulder blades are into the back. When you're ready, then either transitioning out of the knees or coming up onto hands and knees, and gently reach it up and back into down dog. Or you can stay on your hands and knees and maybe go back into child's pose. Now right here, guess what? We're in a forward bend again. So we need to check out the hamstrings. Soften your knees if you haven't already. And now see if you can find that feeling in the back of your thighs. Lightly try to lift your sit bones up. Find the stretch that's just right. Maybe your heels can descend down a little bit more. Maybe you can activate the muscles from the knees up through your thighs. But don't force it. One more breath. Good. And now we're going to look in between the hands. And you're going to step your right leg forward. Staying either on the toes of that back foot or starting to bring that back heel down. We're going to come up again into either crescent pose or your warrior one position. So finding yourself lifting the arms up with that inhale. Just feeling where you're at in space. You've got just the right amount of tilt or not in your pelvis. And you can play with that. Lifting up through the front of the pelvis and exhale, releasing that. One more time, lifting. Oh, and releasing. Good. Let's go and bring the hands to the hips. Now start to lift and lengthen through your front leg. Keep a little bit of softness in the knee. You're not locking into that. Just a little bit of softness. We're going to sense where the back of the leg is, the muscle is working. Inhale here. And on the exhale, just nice and gently tilting from the pelvis. Pelvis tilting, pelvis tilting, pelvis tilting. You should feel your sit bones lifting up a little bit. Where is that place that you then find that sensation? And that's enough for you. Stop there and pause. Keep a line out through the crown of your head, back through that right sit bone. And when you're ready, then inhale. We're going to come back up. Go ahead and bend that knee. We're coming back into our warrior one or crescent position. Woohoo, you made it. Exhale, step forward. And bring the hands to the heart. Soften or close your eyes for a moment here. And just notice how your whole body is feeling. Notice how your breath has been doing. Have you been able to maintain that feeling of a nice and easy full breath? All right. And go ahead and softly open the eyes. So now we're coming into what we're going to do. And this is a place in which you may want to have your strap, your blocks, or your chair. This is going to be working with a pose that's called Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. Easy to say. Everyone say it. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. So extended hand to foot pose. So in this, there's a number of options. The first one being this, you could have your chair, and Deb, can I have you bring your chair? And what Deb's going to show you is that you could have your foot on the chair during this. And this can help you with this. So the pose could simply be like this, finding your standing position and having your heels supported. And then maybe in this one, finding your arms reaching up and working with, again, the sensation in the back of this thigh. Maybe keeping this knee soft and maybe playing a little bit with, can I find that right tilt here that will support this? Maybe coming forward, maybe not. All right, go ahead and take the leg down. A second option for this, maybe simply working with this, finding your hand to your knee like this, and then just playing with starting to extend it out or holding your hand underneath this and having either your wall right by you for your hand support or a chair to do the support like this. Third option is using a strap and finding that you're going to put the strap along the bottom of the foot, coming and finding your balance and starting to reach out through here again with the knee bent and eventually trying to move the sit bone back as you reach out through the heel. And then a final option for those of you guys that have nice flexible hamstrings is to take your fingers around your big toe and start to work with extending out like that. All right. So which option is right for you today? Find the tools for your option. We're going to work with this first with the right leg is going to be the lifted one. So the left foot is going to be your standing leg. So finding if you're going to use the strap around the bottom of your feet, what you're going to want to do is make a loop of it, put your right foot in that, and then have the strap in your right hand. Good. Those of you guys who are using the chair, starting to get your right foot up on the chair. Inhale here. Take your left hand onto your pelvis so that right now you're aware of where your pelvis is at. You may need to bend a little that left foot. Just start to inhale and start to reach out, maybe through that right leg, supporting with the strap as needed. Maybe you don't want to do the full work. Take maybe 3 to 5 breaths here. Find those nice full breaths. Try to send it down to your legs, supporting yourself. Try not to tuck the pelvis under, but maybe you can start to straighten it, straighten it. One more breath, one more breath, one more breath. Exhale, gently bend your knee if you've had it up. Start to bring it back and down to the ground. And wiggle your hips out a little. Woohoo! All right. Left leg's turn. So bringing that strap, if you're using it, onto the bottom of the left leg, or bringing and starting to bring your left heel up and onto your chair. Maybe your left hand onto that foot. Find your right hand on your hip. Inhale here. Just being aware, even as you're coming first into this, is my pelvis already starting to tilt? Can I find that neutral pelvis? Then, using your breath, nice full breath, start to extend out through that leg. Nope, that's about my stopping point, because other than that, if I try to take it farther, my pelvis starts to tuck under. Find that place. Breathe into it. Maybe you can find 1, 2, or 3 more breaths. Maybe you can actually play with a little bit of fluidity in the pelvis. Maybe you can reach the sit bone away from that heel just slightly amount more. Keep the breath going nice and strong. Yahoo! When you're ready, soften. Start to bring it down. Release the strap. Good job. Wiggle, wiggle. Okay. So now we're going to move one more. There's a second one that takes it out to the side, but we're not working with that one today. What we're going to work with today is the one where we twist, the third variation of this. So again, if I can have Deb, you want to put your foot up on the chair? Okay. So with this is a balance. Debbie's showing you with that foot on the chair. What you can do is you can either just take your arms into cactus arms, or you can take your arms out to the side with this one, and then just gently start twisting towards that leg. Good. Now that's an option for number 1. Option number 2, if, say, for example, I was just doing this with my hand on my knee, is I would take my opposite hand. My right leg's up, my left hand comes here, and then I start to twist and come out like this. If you're using the strap on the foot, it's the same thing. You'll put the strap on the bottom of the foot, but you'll take the strap into the opposite arm and then start to open out to the side like that. Now notice how the tendency is for LED's leg to start to cross over her body. So you got to be careful of that. You got to keep your pelvis steady. So again, a couple options. Find the option that's going to be right for you. And we're again going to start with the right leg being the one up, the left leg the standing leg. So first, I'm going to do the option with my hand in front of the knee. I'm going to start to lift my right leg up, putting my left hand here. Strap around the bottom of your right foot, left hand on the strap, lifting it up into the air. Now holding the pelvis steady, inhale, lift up through the spine and start to extend your left arm back behind you if you can, turning your torso, holding the hips steady, holding the hips steady, holding the hips steady. Keep rooting down and lifting up. 1, 2, or 3 more breaths. Try to find your pelvis. Make sure you're not tucking way under with it. Keep it lifted. And exhale, back around to the front. And release that leg. Woohoo! Wiggle, wiggle, side to side. Good job, everyone. Let's do the other side. So your right leg's going to be your standing leg this time. Your left leg's going to be the one with either the strap around it, on the chair seat. We're starting to lift it up. My right hand's going to come in front of that knee. I'm working really hard to try to keep this leg from crossing over my body. Keep the hips steady. Lift up through the crown of the head as you root down through that foot. Inhale, tall, exhale, start to open your chest, reaching your left arm back behind you. Hugging the hips together, keeping yourself nice and strong, trying to find if your pelvis is trying to tuck under. Try to keep your sit bones reaching down towards the ground. 1, 2, or 3 more breaths, holding steady, nice full breaths, not over breathing. Good job, everyone. When you're ready, gently start to exhale towards the center and release the arms down. Release the legs down. Good. Just go ahead and give yourself some nice big hip circles. Go around in one direction and around in the other direction. Good job. All right, we're going to come back and down to the mat. We're going to do a nice seated twist. It's going to stretch out some of these muscles that we were just working. If you sit on a blanket at the beginning of class, you may again want to have a blanket for sitting on. What you want to be aware of in your sitting position, just as we've been working with the whole time, is in your sitting position, if you're doing this twist and your pelvis starts tucking under and you lose the inward curve of your low back, get a blanket or support underneath you. Go ahead and bend your right knee. Now right here, what you're going to start to feel is when we do a twist is you may start to get a nice stretching out of these muscles on the right side. If you want to work a little deeper with this, you can bring your left leg that's straight a little bit farther into the center of your body and cross that right foot over your leg. Now, you guys may be feeling a little bit deeper stretch in that thigh, right? Yep. So if you want to go even deeper, the third phase of this is to bend that left knee and start to bring the heel around to the outside of your right hip. This is Ardha Matsyendrasana. And this will get the deeper stretch of those muscles. So again, a number of options, 1, 2, or 3. Stay conscious, didn't push yourself. Now the other piece of this is a lot of times people really try to crank themselves into these twists. So all I want you to do is take your right hand lightly back behind you. Find it supporting your back. You should feel your sit bones are reaching down. Your pelvis is not tucked under. You're still nice and tall and you have that inward curve of your low back. Just simply lift up through your left arm. Inhale. Now on the exhale, start to turn your upper body. Simply find how far you want to go. And then on the exhale, start to bring your left elbow down. You don't have to take it to the outside of that knee. I want you to find a comfortable position for that left arm to stay in. What you want to be able to do is still stay broad across the collarbones, still feel your shoulder blades lightly coming into your upper back and meeting each other, and still finding that inward curve of your low back. Now lastly, start to turn your head over that back shoulder. Draw your chin in and lightly down towards your chest. Soften and close your eyes. Feel your breath now. With your chin coming in towards you and down towards your chest, you should start to hear that soft whisper of your breath, sometimes called ocean breath or ujjayi. Find your breaths easeful, not over breathing, yet still full. Our body's in a little bit of a twist, so it may be just a slight bit more work to fill the lungs. But just work with that. Feel the sound of it, the massaging action of your breath. the rotation of the spine, just in that harmony and balance, the consciousness. There shouldn't be a feeling of any place in your body of overworking, nor any place underworking. Are you struggling to hold yourself in this twist? If you are, gently back off a little. I want you to take 3 more nice, balanced, and easeful breaths. And as you're ready then, gently and easily start to unwind. Coming back towards the center. You can always keep your eyes soft or closed. Straightening out through the legs. Just give a wiggle if you want with your legs for your hips. And we'll begin to move to the other side. So the right leg, if you want to leave that out straight and just simply bend the left leg, you can start and you can do your twist from here. You could leave your right leg out straight and cross your left foot so it sits at the other side of that. Or you can bend that right knee and bring the left heel to the outside of that hip. Again, finding and feeling exactly what's the right option for you. If your body is feeling uncomfortable already, then find the variation where you don't have struggle. Left arm is then going to go back and behind you. Finding a place where that can just simply support your spine and find that nice, tall, natural spine. Inhaling up through that right arm. Find that nice extension. And easily then exhale. Start to turn your whole upper back towards your left leg. Gently allow that left arm to come down. And what is the right position? Maybe if it falls easily outside that left thigh, then you want to take the elbow to the outside. If it doesn't, just use that elbow to hold onto the knee or your hand to hold onto the knee. Inhale, nice tall spine. Pelvis is in its neutral position. Exhaling, head, chin, and eyes turning towards that left shoulder. Drawing the chin first in and then down. Nice and easy. Hearing that soft whisper of your ujjayi breath now coming up and down your spine. There's a lack of struggle. You're finding the ease within you for this. Continuing to hear the soft whisper of your breath. Can you find the ease of filling your body and exhaling? Just keep an eye and notice if there's any place in which you're struggling. Are you really struggling to hold on to that front leg? If you are, back off a little. Notice what creates this feeling of wanting to struggle within you. Svadhyaya or self-study. One more nice full breath here. And when you're ready, a gentle exhale, coming back around to the front. Go ahead and extend your legs out. And again, nice and easy, wiggle, wiggle. I'm going to have you come back on to your back, and we're going to move into coming up into just nice and easy bridge poses. And you can move in and out of these dynamically, or you can come up and hold for a couple breaths. Again, we're warming down. We're starting to come down with bridge pose and then into Shavasana or corpse pose. So with this, again, if it's helpful to your back, you may want to hold on to a brick in between your thighs as you do your light and easy bridge pose. Feet may be in line with your hips. They may be wider. All I want you to do is feel the grounding in your feet and let that nice full breath we work with at the beginning of class be what lifts you up and down. If you remember the first ones you did at the beginning of class, notice how your body feels as it's moving now. Has it gotten easier for you to find that balance of this nice, full, and easy breath without overfilling or underfilling? Does your body seem to feel more in conscious harmony with your breath? Just notice. And again, maybe one or two more times, whatever's going to make your back feel really yummy, or maybe holding for a breath or two. And then once you're ready, coming back and down, finding if there's any other movements that your back wants, whether it's bringing your legs into happy baby or doing a little with your knees drawn in, rock and roll and massaging your back and spine. All I want you to do is find anything that your back body may want, your body may want, before we start to go into corpse position. So for those of you guys that like to have something underneath your legs, find and feel that you have just the right support underneath you for your body, for your corpse pose. Perhaps a blanket underneath your head. And as you start to get yourself settling down into this position, what I want you to do is to know that your sacrum, that flat bone at the base of your pelvis, is super happy. Wiggle, wiggle. Find exactly the right width apart for your heels to be away from each other. Feel the natural curves of your spine are supported well. That your shoulder blades now are in just their right position. Give them a couple little wiggle wiggles so that they relax. And then allow your hands to be as far away from your body as is comfortable for you. If it is comfortable, palms turning up. If that's not comfortable, how are they comfortable for you? Then finding that the back of your head is in exact right position. That you have the right amount of support. The back of your head is beautifully comfortable. Maybe just a little movement side to side to establish that. Take a nice deep full breath in and relax your jaw and go, ah. If you need to do that a couple more times, do that a couple more times. Once you feel that sense of release from that extended exhale, keep your jaw soft as you lightly close your mouth. Let your tongue relax in your mouth. Soften or close your eyes. Feel the muscles around your forehead, your temples, your scalp starting to relax into this. Feel your eyes soften down in their sockets. Your brain soften down in your head. Feel your lips soften, your throat soften. See if you can release the need to name your experience, letting go of words, and just simply relax into this experience of your corpse pose. Breathe your breath all the way through your arms and shoulders, relaxing from your fingertips, forearms, upper arms, and shoulders. Breathe your breath from your pelvis all the way down your legs to your toes. Exhaling and relaxing feet, calves, thighs. Take a few more breaths now into your pelvic area, into your hips, feeling them soften now and release. Feel the security underneath you, underneath your sacrum, Mother Earth holding you. Allow your breath now to come into the center part of your body, into your abdomen, your rib cage, your chest, all through your back and spine. Feel your exhale softening the muscles of your abdomen, the muscles around your chest, your side, your upper back. And feel your shoulder blades now being snuggled and held into the earth. The back of your head completely secured. Taking any last breaths into any parts of your body that still may be holding on to anything, and just simply use an exhale there to soften and release. Release now into the seat of your consciousness. Allow that to come from the head down now into the heart. Imagine you have the most comfortable place to relax in your heart that you can imagine, whether it be a hammock or a really comfy chair or lounge chair. And take your place there. As your body continues to deepen its relaxation, your consciousness now is allowing the wisdom within you to integrate with the wisdom of your physical body. Rest and allow this to happen. Simply observe from your comfortable place as your relaxation deepens, your integration deepens. Triambakam yajamahe Sugandhin pushti vardhanam Urva rukamiva bandhanam Mrityo mukshiyamamrita Om. Take your time now to gently feel once again your body on the earth, to feel your breath within you, to notice how the first few movements ripple throughout your entire body. Your awareness intensified on being still. As you're ready to create larger and larger movements, starting with your extremities, maybe doing a nice full stretch, and eventually drawing legs and arms in. Do some movement on your spine, eventually coming over onto the side that's the most comfortable. Take a breath, take a pause, so that your transition back up into sitting is with as much consciousness as you have taken for the rest of the class. Allow your arms, when you're ready, to bring yourself up into a seated position. I'm just going to be here for a couple minutes. As you find your seated position, you can always keep your eyes closed or soft from your transition. And then here once again, observe the feeling of your body, your breath, awareness of the qualities of your mind right now, and what emotions are present for you. Take a moment to feel your breath grounding yourself. Imagine that from your pelvic floor, the roots of your energy system are extending down into the earth. You're grounded, connected. The place of our support and security is stable. Then allow your awareness to come gently up, feeling just in front of your spine a beautiful column of gold light extending from your pelvic floor all the way up and through the crown of your head. And just for a few breaths here, feel your breath coming from above your head all the way down with your inhale to that pelvic floor. And your exhale lifting from there back and up through the crown of the head. You may even be able to feel the light rest at the end of your inhale. And then feel the exhale bringing it back up, and the light rest somewhere up above your head again at the end of your exhale. Inhaling down to pelvic floor, pause. Exhaling back up through the crown of the head, and another pause. Our breath coming down through the center of our brain, our place of wisdom, coming down through the heart of compassion and grounding ourselves in stability. Our exhale, bringing that security and stability back up through our heart, through compassion, back up through our brain, through wisdom, and connecting with all that is. Sending our balance back out into the world. As you're ready to turn your palms up and join your thumbs and first fingers together, if you haven't already, do so. And take a moment to be grateful for this human life, for this ability to be in this place of knowledge, in this place of consciousness. Moment by moment, awareness, presence, compassion. May we continue to fill ourselves with this and to bring it out into the world. We desperately need it right now and always. Let's bring our hands together and bow to honor all you are, all you experience. We'll close as we began with a final chant of Om, arising with the Ah low in the body, the Oo at the heart, the nasal passage in the center of the brain, and then the silence arising out into the world. Exhaling together and inhaling. Namaste. Thank you so much for your practice. Thank you guys for your practice. Have a great day, everyone.